So up next, we have Andy, Vice President Sales from our gold sponsor, Wavelo.
Thanks, Gloria. Thank you, Gloria. So my name's Andy Youé. I run sales and marketing for Wavelo. Most people ask me who Wavelo is. We're the guys, we have a very cool, agile tech stack, think BSS, OSS, and we're the ones behind the launch of Boost Mobile in the US 3 years ago, and the migration of Boost Mobile from the legacy Sprint system, which is kind of interesting. And now we're helping them become a carrier in their own right. I heard recently somebody said in telecoms, the only thing faster than 5G is the rate at which we want to make things more complicated. So I'm going to try not to make things more complicated. And hopefully this will work. There we go. I'm going to talk about next generation MVNOs. What is a next generation MVNO? Well, it's an MVNO that uses cool tech with a wholesale agreement to offer more than just mobile. So I'm going to be talking about going beyond mobile. And there are a few things that enable this, but we believe, and this is the general theme of this, I guess this summit this afternoon, is MVNOs are poised to really take over and reshape the telecoms industry. I'm going to talk about three things: emerging enabling technology, customer focus, and then how you bring those two things together to offer really innovative services. Okay? Right. 5G, and I'm smiling, I'm going to have to apologize. I know there are at least 2 people in the audience today from Kansas City, so I have a Kansas City anecdote here. There she is. February the 9th, New Orleans, United States, Super Bowl 59. Kansas City Chiefs versus Philadelphia Eagles. Opportunity for the Chiefs to make it 3 in a row, but they didn't. But 5G got the win at that stadium. How is that? Well, the stadium was built out with a lot more 5G capacity than you'd normally expect, AT&T and Verizon. And they encouraged all the spectators at the stadium to use 5G instead of Wi-Fi. By all accounts, very, very successfully. And 5G in that environment is a potential big set of opportunities for MVNOs. So, fast streaming, 4K at your phone, partnering with organizations for ticketing. Basically, the entire, having 5G in that environment, there are a whole bunch of possibilities there. Now, we've been living with 5G for a while now, so let's talk about a technology that's enabled by 5G, which is IoT. Now, Hakan just talked about IoT. I want to add to that and introduce the concept of IoMT, Internet of Moving Things. So while IoT is becoming ubiquitous across a number of different industries, IoMT is something that not only is it bring a lot of requirements on the network because of the amount of data that needs to be moved, but it also presents some additional complexities around orchestration. So, am I allowed to talk about the TM Forum? They'll cut my mic if not. We're doing a catalyst with British Telecom in June on the Internet of Moving Things, and really the problem we're trying to solve is how do you move a huge amount of data from the Internet of Moving Things, think drones, bring that back to some kind of analytical or AI process, and then drive configuration changes back to the drone environment. If you take those things and then add on integration of AI, cloud computing, and real-time architectures, let me talk about those for a second. Cloud's been here for a while. I'm sure no presentation is complete without someone talking about agentic AI, and so I'm not going to talk about it. Real-time architectures are interesting. It's a new technology. It's been used for years in the network, but we're starting to see it used, and we use it too, for the OSS BSS. And it's a technology that allows you to bring the data forward in an environment, and it's really, really good in those situations where you have to move a huge amount of data from the network backwards, run some analysis, analytics against it, and make decisions against it, and then potentially drive back down configuration changes to the IoMT. What I will say about AI is that it's only as good as the data that you give it, and that's probably been a theme this week too. And a real-time architecture is an enabler to AI. Well, I think we're going to talk about that in the fireside chat later. Okay. The second point was about customer centricity. If you can be very accurate with the way in which you engage with your customer, if you can do it quickly, and if they trust you, then this is becoming a real differentiator. So, point number one, using data insights to tailor plans and tailor experiences to your subscribers. Now, the MNOs, the carriers, have been trying to do this for a long time. The idea is that you measure the activity of your subscribers, and based on that activity, you then drive back changes, offers, things to them in real time. Convergence. So when I talk about convergence, I don't just mean necessarily mobile and IoT, or that's an aim here. I'm talking about the convergence of fixed, of mobile, of IoT, prepaid, postpaid, into a common platform. And I think that's going to become necessary. And I think I'm going to talk about that later on in the fireside chat too. Payments always such a big deal for your customers. You look at customers like companies like Mint Mobile, and their payment plans was always about a multiple of months, pay in advance to buy down your rate, for example. What about blurring the distinction between prepaid and postpaid? Most people think of those as two different products. What if it was just a way to pay? What if a customer wants to pay daily, weekly, monthly? There's another sort of aspect to this, which is what network should the customer be running over? You know, an MVNO with multiple MNOs can potentially choose which network is best for the subscriber based on where they're at and what wholesale rates they're getting. So we have a customer that has multiple carriers, and they get different wholesale rates, so we'll switch the onboarding for their new subscribers. If I combine those two concepts, so that is emerging technology and customer centricity, these are the kind of service offerings that we can be talking about. Streaming, gaming, partnerships, Netflix. So the experience that your subscribers get at the phone, big differentiator, enabled by 5G and AI. If you couple that with a real-time architecture, then the ability to offer different things to your customer becomes very, very fast. I want to propose something about instant customization. What if your customers could choose how they wanted to transact with you? How much they want to pay, when they want to pay it, what they're going to pay for, changing the way that they pay, that customization thing. How valuable would that be? How much of a differentiator would that be? It's kind of interesting. All right. So the point we want to make today is that MVNOs are poised to dominate the telecoms landscape. And this isn't a presentation about what's possible in the future. This is a presentation about what's possible now. We see that there's going to be a lot of change coming in the market that's going to drive the need for complexity, going back to my first point. But we're trying to make that, trying to avoid that and make this more simple. Bringing next-gen tech and architectures is going to be critical for that. Agility based around data, So the ability to change what you're doing with your subscriber based on their behavior, I think is very powerful. And there are dynamic ecosystems at play here that allow us to offer some really interesting things to our subscribers. So, call to action here. Partner with all of us. There are a number of very, very interesting presenters this afternoon. And between us, we can lead the future of mobile. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy.